Pretty sure I've mentioned this before in at least one video that I grew up in a city, not a, well, a town, I guess, really not really much of a city, but a large town where we had a large population of people who had immigrated from Latin America. And what I mean by a large population, by the time I had, the numbers had grew over the years, and by the time, or had grown over the years, and by the time I graduated from high school, it was right around 40% of the population, and now it's over 50% of the population. Mostly people from northern Mexico, some other Latin Americans like Guatemalans, but mostly Mexicans, right? And this really, I think, had an effect on how I see immigration and how I see people's reactions to immigration. Because in addition to this, my father actually worked payroll for one of the companies, or a company that hired a lot of people from a lot of these immigrants. And one thing he would always correct people on, because, well, first of all, when these people came into the city, there were the standard talking points. Oh, they don't pay taxes. Oh, crime. Usually the not paying taxes thing, because the crime thing, we could see that, you know, it's just the fact that that immigrants on average commit less crime. So it was always the they don't pay taxes thing. And my father would be like, no. All these people who are working for this factory and similar factories, I can tell you, my father would say, I can tell you that they're paying taxes. He was like, I know they're paying taxes because I see their checks and they're paying taxes. The funny thing is they're paying into a system that they can't get all the benefits out of. So there was this constant prejudice directed at these people. And that, like I said, that affected me, because I'm just like, I'm like, why? Because for the most part, people just living a life, minding a business, and doing nothing wrong. One thing my father would always remind me, though, is that he would say, like, everything that they're saying about them was the same thing that I had to grow up hearing. When they use these names, these slurs, they would direct it towards us if we weren't around. And that would be a thing that would happen. I would be around certain groups of people, and they would say something about it's always the Mexicans, right? Identity remove, just this vague block of the Mexicans, whether they were from Guatemala, Mexico, Costa Rica. Hell, they could even be from Brazil. They were the Mexicans. That was a thing. But the thing that really gets me, though, and we see this level of just cruelty, because it's one thing to enforce laws. It's another thing to say we're going to remove people who are here undocumented. But just the exuberance of cruelty that people have, the joy. There's merch now. There's merch for the concentration camp they're building. People say concentration camp, and should we call it a concentration camp? Maybe we shouldn't call it a concentration camp. But I'm sure there's going to be people concentrated in an area, and it looks like a camp, right? So we have merch and glee from it. The disturbing thing is, though, is that there's a trick where you can dehumanize people. It's easy to dehumanize people when you don't have to interact with them, right? They're just this vague group of people that speak a foreign language, that have a strange culture and food and ways about themselves. And then that's easy to dehumanize those people. You shouldn't. And it's easy, just as easy to learn about them and get to know them, but it's easy to dehumanize them. But the thing I see now, though, is that Americans will eat their food, listen to their music, engage their culture. They'll even have them as neighbors. They'll get to know them. They'll build their homes. They'll do their lawns. They'll watch their children. They'll clean their rooms. These people that are not really foreign to us, they're part of our culture. But with that they still have the glee of cruelty. And that is really disturbing to me.